Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Javon Keys. The Jamaican economy grew by an estimated 1.9% in the first quarter. The estimates for the January to March period were shared in a press briefing this afternoon. Now, James Stewart is the Senior Director in charge of Economic Planning, Research and Policy Logistics at the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ. He says this represents 12 consecutive quarters of economic growth.
The performance for the January to March 2024 quarter largely reflected the impact of 1. Increased external demand, which was facilitated by continued growth in the economies of Jamaica's main trading partners and was reflected in the positive performances for the transport, hotels and restaurants, and other services industries. 2. Higher levels of business and consumer confidence. 3. Increased agricultural output facilitated by an increase in yield per hectare as well as total hectares reaped. And 4. The continued expansion in capacity utilization at alumina refineries, which resulted in higher alumina production.
He says further economic growth was, however, tempered by a contraction in the construction industry, and that's been taking place over the last few quarters as well. The government says it is still committed to establishing a dedicated logistics center to supply the tourism industry. For at least the last 4 years, there have been talks about setting up the facility. While addressing a press briefing at last week's Caribbean Travel Marketplace in St. James, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says public-private partnership is being sought to establish the center.
Where the goods that are required that we don't produce can be brought in and be made available to the industry here by a value-added process. So workers of the can be brought in and we can earn extra from these goods that we bring in. But more importantly, we can near shore to the destinations within the region to supply on the requirements of tourism in the Caribbean and elsewhere.
Now, Minister Bartlett says a team has already been established to drive the processes.
The location for it is also being identified. There's 2 options, one here in Montego Bay, in the Barnet development. Yeah? Barnet Tech Park. Yes, in the Barnet Tech Park. And of course the other would be in the economic zone that we're developing in Caymanas. The logistics center is not going to be a government construct per se. It's going to be a private sector driven initiative. And already we are talking to some of the large providers of tourism services and goods who are ready to get involved in establishing such a facility.
Now, he's hoping some progress will be made before the end of the year. Mr. Bartlett says the value of the investment will be determined based on the discussions. Now, in addition to providing an efficient value chain, the facility is expected to increase revenue for the industry. Let's head to the markets now. Foreign exchange trading closed today with banks and Cambio selling the American dollar for an average $156.59. The Canadian is going for $115.44. $198.76 is the average value of the pound, while the euro is going for $172.92. And the JSE index advanced by 3,109 points, while the junior market index went up by 70 points. Among the 48 winners were Cygnus Credit Investments US dollar shares, Jamaica Producers Group, The Lab, Epley 7.25% preference shares, and Pan Jamaica Group. Now the 45 losers were led by MFS Capital Partners, Portland JSX, Palace Amusement Company, Epley Caribbean Property Fund, and our parent company Radio Jamaica. 16 stocks traded firm. And that's the Business Day. I'm Javon Keys. Good evening. Please stay with us. Regional and international news is right after the break.